Good evening. I'd like to call to order the public input for May the 12th for the Georgia Avenue Traffic Calming and Pedestrian Access Study. It's great to see everybody. I was kidding with Kelly. I said, are we at a city council meeting or what? This is amazing. Great turnout. Thank y'all for being here. So just let me kind of give you, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Clifford in just a second, but let me just kind of lay a little, I'm going to go you first. Why don't you open it up, and then I'll do the piece about people talking.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to get some baseline information out to the council and to our city input session. Recommended adoption of the study with comments. The staff considers this plan as two phases. Simply put, phase one is every change to Georgia Avenue from the Middlefield Avenue, Carolina Avenue, and Jackson Avenue, and was the subject of a Post and Courier article which highlighted the possibility of a traffic circle at that intersection. Phase one is the major action that will be before the council next week. The staff added the adoption of the traffic study. As to phase two, also known as the traffic circle, there is no funding mechanism identified as of yet, and in practical terms, I would not view this moving forward during this council's elected term. To allay any fears about a traffic circle appearing in the near future, I would point out that the previous mayor and council adopted the Martintown Road Corridor Study, which included multiple traffic circles along Martintown Road to include the intersection of Gregory Lake Road and Martintown Road. Those were proposed technical solutions that were not adopted by the council based on lack of funding and lack of agreement on that traffic control feature. In short, adoption of this traffic study allows the city to move forward with the phase one engineering, but in no way obligates the city to a traffic circle or any other changes to that intersection. You're receiving the information that you paid for, and it allows the council to make actions on phase one based on future costs.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. All right, so this is going to be like our public comment period. Many of y'all have been to our city council meetings, and we allow public comments before every vote on a resolution or any ordinance. So, and what I would ask you is please address me with your comments. Council will be listening. This is not a dialogue. This is a chance for you to publicly give us your comments. Now, I've got a list and the building in Georgia Avenue traffic calming. We would love to hear that. Okay. So, that's why we're doing this. So with that being said, I'm going to go just off this first list. And I think Jamie said it's the folks who circled. Names are circled. First,
I understand that's not part of this first.
Give me your.
Okay,
you can, sure.
I've been in North Augusta 60 to 65 years. And I've driven up and down Georgia Avenue 65 years. And I've driven up and down Georgia Avenue, Carolina Avenue, thousands and thousands of times, just like a lot of y'all have. I'm really interested in what happens in North Augusta. And I was at one of the first meetings on the traffic study down at the community center.
Yep.
About a year and a half, 2 years ago. Filled out a survey and did all that. And so I'm really concerned, and I'm in favor of a traffic circle or a roundabout. And I have some reasons for that. Now, that might not be an issue for a couple more years, but anyway, from everything I've looked at, it slows the traffic down. And I've been here, when I first got here, we might have had 10,000 people in the city. I'm not sure. Now it's going to 25,000, it's going to go to 40,000. The traffic is going to get worse. Yeah. We can't put a head in the sand. We got to address these issues. And I think a roundabout's a way to slow the traffic down and control the traffic. And then one good example is myself. I've come down Georgia Avenue the last couple of weeks, and the North Augusta Police Department has the radar down there, and it calms the traffic. The other one is safety. If you look at safety, North Augusta Beautification Committee, and we've put out 44 or 45 baskets hanging down from the poles. So when you come over from Augusta, on the bridge, you see the North Augusta's got all the flowers out. They change them out twice a year. So it's very attractive. So when you start coming up the hill, all those street lights had baskets, which we hope to do, with flowers coming down, and you see ahead of you a traffic circle. Roundabouts, what I think they really call them. And you still see the look-away hall, you have the fountains and the obelisks and all that, but my opinion would be to have a roundabout with moving the statue of James Hugh Jackson in the middle of the roundabout and put flowers around it, just like they do on the other ones. They do a great job with all that.
All right.
So whenever I come to a decision about something that's real difficult and I'm not an expert in it, first thing I'll do is what do the professionals say? And then the second thing, Google, which all of us can Google, the capital roundabout, the roundabout capital of the U.S., it comes up Carmel, Indiana. I don't know if y'all have ever looked at it, but they have 152 traffic circles in Carmel, Indiana. Population of 100,000. And they've been putting them in there for over 30 years, and they love it. And so I know everybody's concerned, oh, you get confused, but I've been down Hilton Head, and they have it Greenwood Circle. Once or twice through there, you understand how it works. So I think it would be professionals to recommend it. I think the people in Carmel, look at it. When you have a chance, just Google it, look at it, see what they say about it. So anyway, maybe a year or two early, but that's my.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you.
Contributions towards that project, state involvement in the design. I don't know if that's a state road or just a city-controlled area, but please make that clear because maybe there's some opportunity. I'm sure you guys have looked at that to fund some of that on the state side.
Because it's great to hear that you have seen that little sign.
First time I saw it today. I mean,
Okay, man, it's working, Chief. It's working, man. Woo! I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just Tom, real quick, your comment. Let you know on phase one, for the most part, that's a whole different funding source. So, but when we get down that point, we'll have you here.
Just make that. It would be nice to know
it would,
how much is the state potentially going to contribute.
It would be nice for it'd be nice for us too. So anyway, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay, where's Gary? And I can't read this, Gary. Hey, where's Gary? And I can't read this, Gary. Gary Cheeks.
Parking
Yeah,
section down there. So
please do.
traffic circle, he just brought up the financing thing. That's a big thing in my opinion, because I'm like, almost $4 million just sounded, and it's always an overrun, always overruns. So reduce the speed limit to 25. We have a very competent law enforcement division. They can handle that. Enough tickets get dealt out, people will slow down. I promise. That's all I really have to say about the traffic circle. I'm just not, at this point, I'm not in favor of it until I see more about the financing.
Sure.
The parking, I see no point in having make access for shoppers to enter from the rear of the building and dress up their properties. So I'm definitely okay with that portion of the improvements that we're talking about doing.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it, Gary. Very good. Okay.
A long time resident of North Augusta, and I've driven that street many, many times and never have seen an accident in that area. I would agree with just leaving that in. And as far as the roundabout, I'm going to make this comment. I believe a traffic light would be a whole lot cheaper on all of our tax forces, whether it's state or city or county. Traffic lights work. They've been working for hundreds of years, and so that's my point.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Let's see. Ms. Pam Stickler.
Good evening. I'm so thrilled you're allowing us to speak. I have a business at 516 Georgia Avenue, and I'm really concerned about the parallel parking. I'm a good parallel parker. I grew up in the city of Chicago, and the only way I was going to get home was to park in front of my mother's house, and you had a parallel park. So I'm an expert at that, not sure with a van. But what I'm concerned about is the handicap parking in that area. I need a spot that's by us. We deal with individuals with disabilities. I have 145 members right now that participate in our programs, and they come. So if you keep that in mind, how it's going to affect those all the way down that alley, all the way down that alley, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate Pam.
Thank you. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate Pam.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
All the way down there. all the way down that alley.
Normally, we're 25 miles enforced. At 30 mile per enforced. At 30 mile per hour, I would say it's a lot safer than it is Saturday afternoon or another day when you can see people easily going 40-ish miles an hour down there. So, yeah, I just think that would be an added thing. I think everyone here would agree that traffic calming needs to happen one way or another. So, glad that you guys are doing this. And then also with the traffic circle, I don't know that I've ever seen one at the bottom of a hill. So I guess to me, it could help traffic slow down, but I would also be concerned of, is it also going to just have accidents come from the other way now? Because people going down the hill faster instead of turning left, going on to Carolina, is it going to create backup and more traffic coming down the hill faster, not slowing down on Georgia? So that's all I have.
Was able to experience firsthand. I noticed the flashing pedestrian crosswalk. I'm not sure which street it is, but it's between the stoplights downtown. I was happy at red stoplight. Either that or a normal traffic light would be, with the flow of traffic and the speed of traffic, that would probably be the two safest options. Even with a roundabout, pedestrian safety sometimes can get a little hairy. Let's see. I had my notes. So downhill is obviously a concern as well. Coming down into downtown North Augusta, there should probably be a couple warnings, possibly a flashing sign. There's examples on like Route 1 where it says signal ahead red when flashing or stop when flashing. So potentially something that alerts drivers coming down Georgia sign or stoplight or a roundabout ahead to reduce their speed. I haven't seen a lot of trucks use Georgia Avenue, but trucks do use it from time to time, so that is a concern when it comes to not just pedestrian safety, but also any traffic management in the future. Turning left, coming north on Georgia Avenue, turning left onto Carolina, you kind of take your bumper and left, waiting for traffic coming down walks. I don't know the height, or I can't recommend anything on that. Obviously, a raised crosswalk, physically connected.
Calm down, young lady.
All right, thank you so much. I'm just going to read this because I hate public speaking. So, my name is Tia Harville. I own a business at 509 Georgia Avenue. It's the Grove Gourmet Market. And being a business owner with a storefront on Georgia Avenue in downtown North Augusta, this directly affects us. I've weighed the pros and cons of this proposed Georgia Avenue plan, and I can say I'm absolutely for traffic calming and parking changes. While the construction phase may negatively impact my business during the meantime, overall, I believe it will increase the longevity of my storefront and other businesses coming to downtown. We've been open for about 1.5 years now, and we hear the same things consistently. New customers often mention that they've never noticed our store because they're focused on literally just making it down Georgia Avenue without hitting a parked car. And they're not being hyperbolic. In March of 2024, someone hit a parked car and sent it straight through our store. The men and people are afraid to park in front of our store because of the angled parking. They don't want to be Augusta for about 7 years. We have our business in North Augusta because for about 7 years. We have our business in North Augusta because we love it. It's not where you put a small business to get rich. You love it because we love it. It's not where you put a small business to get rich. You love it because you love the community, and you want to meet people and you want to gather together. And we've seen people in North Augusta, and you want to meet people and you want to gather together. And we've seen people in North Augusta want that. We didn't really know what our business was going to be when we opened it. We had 2 tables. We didn't really know what our business was going to be when we opened it. We had 2 tables. We knew we were doing standalone and have everybody look at us. We're looking for places where people can go, where they can get everything kind of in one spot: shopping, restaurants, entertainment. And those are going to be your downtown areas. So when people want small businesses, they want shops, and they're sick of all these other businesses going up, it makes sense to invest in downtown because that's where you can have everything all in one and community can gather. And we've seen firsthand how this community wants to gather. So we are in favor of it. I'm really not afraid of losing a few parking spots as long as those parking spots are actually usable, since half the time we see them just sitting empty in front of our storefront with people walking around instead because they're afraid of it. So we're looking forward to Georgia Avenue and the changes, and we're looking forward to more businesses coming downtown. We're looking forward to Georgia Avenue and the changes, and we're looking forward to more businesses coming downtown.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We've got something for everybody.
All right, let's keep it going, Pat. All right, Steve Weddle. Where's Steve? Come on down, sir.
Not doing that anymore, but point being, I would go down Martintown Road 30 times a day. And it's almost like Georgia anymore in North Augusta. People just don't drive like they used to in North Augusta. Used to, you go down Martintown Road, state highway coming across the river. And there are tractor trailers that come up Georgia Avenue. What in the world are they going to do when they get to a roundabout? Not going to be a pretty sight. So I don't have so that's mainly what I want to do. Say the speed limits need to be monitored and need to be enforced a little better. And what about the tractor trailers? What about the workers, the people coming down Georgia Avenue with trucks? Roundabouts wouldn't be helpful, I don't think. Thank you very
Steve,
much.
can I just ask you, have you had a chance to look at the actual study yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm sorry.
I'll just recommend that you do. And the reason being is that we've got a really good breakdown of a number of the things that you express as far as there's a number of things that can be done to slow traffic. So.
Okay, I'll get that and take a look at it.
Have it online. So thank you for your call.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. So that's everybody on this list. So at this point, I know there probably is other folks that'd like to speak. If so, we're at 6:32. So
I will probably never be in favor of a roundabout, but that's just my style. Okay, I like to get where I'm going as quick as I can get there, and I'm probably one of these over 30-mile-an-hour people.
okay,
All right. But I would say I'm in favor of it. My concern or my question is I understand that the money is probably already there because of the 1 cent sale tax. Where is that? I looked at the site and I don't really see how it's identified.
50.
All right.
and
I
we
see-
actually have a resolution that I think got moved up to number 2,
okay.
prioritizations.
And this looks like it's close to 3 million. Is it? I don't see it on the website.
Yeah, I know we've got it on the resolution, then we reprioritize.
And
All right.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, we'll get it.
All right, great.
Thank you, Tammy.
You bet. And then one more thing, I think it's ironic that so many people have said they've lived here decades, but nobody's brought up to help the flow of traffic move smoother and faster through the city to get downtown and back across the river. So we're kind of going backwards a little bit, and maybe anyway.
Well, it's funny you said that because when the city did that in 1991, I believe Charles Martin was our city administrator, and there was a charrette that was being done, and they had put lights on, and the conversation, everybody was tongue in cheek, but the comment was, we didn't realize, but we just made Georgia Avenue an airstrip
Yeah,
coming down there.
pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's listed on the city's website as downtown pedestrian and vehicular traffic safety
All right.
for $300,000.
300,000. Okay. So if we were to get started with items 1 through 5A, where would the rest of the money come from, do you think?
So from a requesting perspective, the money that we're looking at is for a base bid when we go forward for a number of options and then options after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Who we got? Somebody else? Yes, sir, gentlemen, come on out, sir.
Yeah, my name is Carl Purvis.
Hey,
I
Carl.
live on Georgia Avenue. I really just come down here to hear about the traffic circle
Okay.
that's going to happen because I didn't know much about it. I'm in favor of slowing traffic down, certainly, because I live on Georgia Avenue. But I do wonder how this is going to affect. I know there's thousands of cars a day go across the bridge from Augusta to Georgia Avenue is obviously 5 lanes wide because when you get to Martintown Road, you got a turn lane. You got 2 lanes and a turn lane and 2 lanes on the other side. But it's always been where you could park on the side of the road going up Georgia Avenue. I mean, I've been living there 25
Sure.
years. It's never been a problem. I did learn when all the debris was on the road that I found out it was a state road when I was saying, why can't this stuff get moved? Because for like 4 or 5 months, I couldn't even see how to get out of my driveway. And I had, well, you got to wait on the state. So I'm assuming not too long ago when the road was repaved, the state did that. And the only thing that I can tell, and I haven't been out there and measured it, and I don't know, but it seems like the line wasn't put in the same place. Because if you park on the side of Georgia Avenue now, like a lot of people heard, somebody can check into that, but I don't believe
that's
it's
a
in the
good
right place.
Yeah.
I know it's not where it was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that, as far as what we're talking about, we aren't gonna go that far up, and that is a DOT thing, but yeah, we can look into that.
Yeah, like I said, because it's kind of a hazard for all of us that live there between where you're talking about putting traffic circle in Martintown, because it's there. It did provide, it does provide parking, but when you park there now, it slows traffic down because they have to stop to go around you now if you park there, and then it's dangerous if you do park there.
All right, very good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Who else we got? Mrs. Jenny?
Thank you for letting us come and share tonight. My husband and I am Jennifer Elliott, and my husband's Jesse Elliott. We own 3 businesses downtown. 2 are on, so we walk downtown. My daughter walked from Lake Avenue to Georgia Avenue today. She crossed Georgia Avenue, not the safest thing. I don't love for my children to do that, but sometimes they have to, and we tell them where to cross at. And so I definitely think we definitely need traffic calming. And I am in favor of the plan that has been proposed, including the parallel parking. So people are probably going to throw rocks at me for saying this, but we all get our driver's license in Georgia, South Carolina, wherever, and you have to pass the test to parallel park. My son had to parallel park to get his license, and it's not fun, and I don't like it, but I know how to do it, and I would rather do it than to go visit my friend and park in front of her shop on Georgia Avenue right now. I'm one of those backdoor guests at Tia's because I don't like parking in that slanted parking. Even with my camera, I can't see out. And he said, you pray real hard and you look before you get in your car and you be real careful and next time use the back door. So I do think that there's a better solution for parking there, a safer one, and one where we won't see the parking spaces empty. Now, I do have 2 businesses on West Avenue, and I've been parallel parking for 7 years there, and so have half the women in North Augusta. The curb's a little black in front of our store where they've hit it, but there have been no wrecks there, and nobody has driven through the front of our store yet either. So I definitely am in favor of that. And I also think that perhaps there is perhaps there could be some slowing of traffic before getting to downtown. I'm mindful of my speed coming downtown, but I still see that flashing light, and I'm like, or Columbia or Augusta, or you don't always, when we go eat downtown Augusta, we don't always, and almost never get to park in front of the restaurant we want to eat at. We're walking a couple of blocks. And so I think some of that is a mindset that as as we grow, we have to grow with that. We have to realize we might have to walk a block or 2.
Years ago. To be frank, that might be the best thing we've done.
Hold on.
Thank you for allowing all of us to come and voice our opinions. And hello to all of you, especially the new council people and Attorney Zier and Mayor Williams. I come from a totally different perspective. Mine's more personal, but I'm hoping that it'll shine some light onto the issue. So far, the theory is light onto the issue. So far, the theory is what we are going to do in mass is going to slow down the traffic. And some of the traffic, that definitely needs to occur. Now, I just want to reiterate what several people have said. The presence of North Augusta police is not nearly what it used to be. And if any of you know Jackson, South Carolina, you know to slow down before you go through Jackson. It used to be that way in North Augusta. People coming from Augusta, when because if you saw Augusta tag, a Georgia tag, if you were speeding, you'd get a ticket, and rightfully so. But also South Carolina, people that were speeding got a ticket, and rightfully so. So I think that would be definitely needs to occur. Gravity and the speed and the 2 lanes in 1991 to now, we needed it because our population has grown. And we would have been backing up gravity and the speed and the 2 lanes in 1991 to now. We needed it because our population has grown. And we would have been backing up the traffic had we not done so. So I think that was done for a very good reason. But the speed going ER at exit 5, but they don't keep you overnight. You have to get to the medical facilities, either Piedmont, Augusta. Wellstar now, thank you. So what we're doing is impeding that traffic of the firemen, public safety, and ambulance, because I'm thinking about my mama and had many times we've gone from ambulance in a very, very critical situation down Georgia Avenue, across 13th Street Bridge, which is the only bridge, the only access from point A to point B. And we all know the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So you put a circle in the middle of that straight line, you've just impeded that traffic. And if I understood what I saw on the drawings, you're going to be able to go left and right. So they would advise, and unless we had a separate lane going down, where only them, just like in Atlanta, when you're carpooling,
Sure.
you've got that one lane that's only for you. Unless we have space for them and only for them, then they could speed, whatever safe speed was, and get a life saved. So we're not just talking about safe passage across a road. We're talking about a life saved.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Steve, your last person. Come on up here, young man.
Good evening. My name is Steve Bowie. I'm a resident of North Augusta for 32 years now. Congratulations, Dennis, Robert, John, on your appointments. I thought we were talking tonight about the traffic circle, but we're not. But I want to talk about the speed of the traffic. I think a lot of people have brought it up tonight. We need to slow down our traffic. If we could consider holding off on things. And a couple months ago, I came to the Power Half Hour and gave several 80-something pictures of our intersections. You still have them? Okay. I want you to consider the intersections in North Augusta. If we slow down the traffic on Georgia, that's great. Carolina is busy. We live on the corner of Carolina and Woodlawn. We call Woodlawn the Woodlawn Expressway. Yep. They're flying through there, and I know I'm getting older. We've been there 30-something years, but when they cross over over Carolina Avenue, they're flying. Coming up coming up Carolina Avenue, there's a posted speed limit sign, 30 miles an hour. Going down Carolina, it's posted at 35. In front of First Baptist Church, I could, because it's not marked. It's not marked at all. So I just want to see if we could, I don't know if it's South Carolina Department of Transportation, that we would get in to do a study. And why it hasn't been done 10, 15 years ago. All of our intersections need to be marked for safety. And the speed limits need to come down. I'm, I'm, I can attest to getting speeding tickets. It used to be when I was playing music full time, we would come across late at night across Georgia Avenue, and they were doing license checks. And it was one lane. You were snockered. You're in big trouble. But I would love to see more police giving out tickets. It's going to slow people down. If you give somebody a ticket and you bust them, maybe you give them a warning the first time. But in between our property on George and Carolina, I've asked policemen, I've called, I've actually went up and talked to them personally, trying to get somebody just to come down and just monitor. If you would do a random, radar check, where you have 3 or 4 police cars pulling people over, it's going to slow people down. But now that people are on their cell phones and walks, in France, every intersection is on Woodlawn. So I would like, maybe to, and gave to you a couple months ago, and just consider that before, and get with South Carolina DOT, police department, get them together and say, how can we make things safer, not only on Georgia Avenue, but on Carolina Avenue, but on West Avenue, but our side streets too. Our side streets every place is getting busy. And so just want to bring that up and address that.
Very good. Thank you, Steve.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. All right, I'll tell you, this has been fantastic. What really has impressed me is how much I appreciate how everybody's been, but y'all really shared a number of things about slowing traffic and speed limits and things that, quite frankly, a little bit. So you're more than welcome to stay at this point, but at this point, we will be closing out the public input session. We're all available to reach All right, good evening. Good evening. We're going to start the welcome to the study session of North Augusta City Council for Monday, May the 12th, 2025. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our city administrator, Mr. Jim Clifford.
We're going to have a public input session on the front end for details. So each of the department heads will give the council a briefing. And that's a good opportunity if you have specific questions for that department to ask those questions then. And then we'll go into a focus item. And tonight's focus item has to do with fire apparatus procurement to be presented by Chief Johnson. And then, as is my practice, I give every time the council is assembled, I give an update on the Hurricane Helene response and also currently through the utility billing concerns that we have now. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go right into the agenda review for next week of the things you'll be considering. So the first is under new business, so there's no old business to carry over. So old business would include things like ordinances that require 2 readings, and so there are no ordinances we'll be considering. So the first is under new business, so there's no old business to carry over. So old business would include things like ordinances that require 2 readings, and so there are no ordinances on the table that are getting a second reading. So everything that's going to be is your receipt as the council of information of the plan that was paid for. It was through a mixture of state funds and through local funds to fund this Kimley Horn study. And so this does not obligate you as the city council to specific actions that are inside that study. You're just saying, hey, we paid Kimley Horn for a product. That product has now been produced. We are in receipt of said product. In order for us to move forward on any particular actions, that requires funding. And those funding actions come to you as the council for those decisions. What the adoption means versus what it doesn't mean. So Kelly, unless I got that wrong, is that the way you understand it? Okay. So that would be the first resolution that's on the table, and I'll pause for any questions or for the mayor on that one.
I'm just curious.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. Do we need that resolution? That's something y'all would be open to?
Or can we just take phase 2 out?
Well, that's unknown to me right now, Councilman, because again, we are not the sole funding agent of that study.
Understand?
So I would like to, and we're not voting on this, but maybe just get a consensus if there's enough of us to say, let them kind of massage a resolution to where it's just, we do what we need to do to accept the study, but somehow have some verbiage to where we can be clear, and citizens can be clear that our priority is phase 1. Y'all, for the most part, good with that?
I agree.
Okay.
I think it needs to be,
Okay.
identified as 2 separate projects.
How we do. Okay.
I agree.
So let them do that. Okay. The other thing I'm going to ask is, one of the things that I would like to do is, I like to push it to June the 2nd, and there be clear, and citizens can be clear that our priority.
Also, you think, and one of the gentlemen said this, and I've got everything written down, what everybody said, but do we need to speak with Augusta by chance anyway? Because how many people live in North Augusta but travel that bridge,
We don't need to. We don't.
Well, I'm not being funny.
Intersections, they've not asked North Augusta for input on how that affects North Augusta residents coming over. So ultimately, I think it's a matter of, making sure that our residents, the folks that are, the citizens of North Augusta are the primary factor in how we go forward on doing this. And also, as I think we talked about in a previous study session, but I'm not sure if all the council members heard that, is we're also trying to phase this approach so that it's not going to interfere with the 13th Street Bridge construction project. Because what we don't want to have is a situation where the city moves forward on any kind of traffic calming on Georgia Avenue and have that run concurrently with a Georgia DOT project that would then impact drivers for a much longer stretch of time and have a much greater impact on those folks.
And the 13th Street Bridge they're not even going to start on that.
They push that back.
Okay.
So from a timing perspective, Councilman, to that end, for you, if the council decides to move forward with some of these actions, I would tell you I would not anticipate construction occurring on the Georgia Avenue traffic corridor until well into 2026. So that gives us from a construction perspective, a tight window to make sure that we can hit all those gates to have all of the construction completed before Georgia DOT potentially kicks off their problem. And it's possible that project could slide, but we can only deal with the information we have before us, which is right now they're advertising 2028.
Well, I'm not trying to say, hey, let's get their approval over there. No, I don't want their approval. But I just don't want our citizens to be, knowing, hey, I got to get to work at MCG or, well.
Go through this, that the construction agent might say, I need to fully close the road. And if that's the case, then that'll be for us to have to bring that to council. But I would imagine we're going to try to get those things done in the early morning hours and overnight or whatever that would take to have the least amount of impact on the citizens.
And I agree with the mayor about working with the church involved in any aspect of this traffic calming needs to be notified. That this is what we're accepting the study with this resolution. But if there was something in there we maybe don't want to do that, we have that authority to say we don't like, because we did get a lot of good suggestions tonight that maybe this company did not think of.
Councilwoman, well, a couple of things on that. First of all, some of the suggestions that might have been brought up this evening will not be allowed by SCDOT rules on an SCDOT road. So all the things that are going to be done on that roadway have to fall and comport with SCDOT guidance. And then as far as, especially for the new council members, again, if you adopt this council resolution for adopting the traffic study, it doesn't go on cruise control and things just happen because you made that adoption. That's not how that'll work. What'll happen is you have now received that traffic study, and then the staff may or may not bring, based on the guidance we get from council, actions to the council to allow them to vote on things and say, we want to move forward on these kinds of actions or not.
Yeah, the two things I think, I think consensus is, let's kick it to June the 2nd to give us time to talk to churches and then massage the wording to where it's real clear for us that our priority with funding and our focus is going to be
come to the table and make presentations about how they would go forward with this Kimley Horn traffic study and actually engineer the things that are in the. So ultimately, these items are linked. So if you accept, the traffic study and the council wishes to move forward on phase 1 for the engineering and design perspective, then that would be the action that you would all take. I would not be telling you this is the total cost of the project at this time, because what will happen is this firm, Kimley Horn, if approved by the council, will go through the design and engineering aspects, and then they'll put out a bid packet for requests for proposals, not qualifications, which is the low bid aspect. And they'll get a number of firms that will apply for that, and then that'll be our thing is this firm, Kimley Horn, if approved by the council, will go through the design, and ultimately those are taxpayer dollars. So if the council sets a cap and says, let's just, for make-believe numbers, say $1 million, say, hey, this is the cap. We'll go through with the construction agent and with the engineering firm and say, okay, these are the base bid requirements. These are potential options. And then here's where we are. Now, if we come back to the council, I'll give you an example. So in the public safety headquarters, the original budget after we went through the full design and engineering came out to $25 million. And then we came back to the council and said, okay, in order to get some of the CID equipment, the lab equipment that CID requested, it's going to cost some additional money. And we went back to the council for that discussion and for that approval. And the council approved that purchase. But we were prepared for the council to say no. So we don't obligate funding above what the council has already allocated. Stormwater collection and fire suppression systems and associated easements and rights of way, along with the maintenance guarantee and letter of credit for River North Phase 4. So for our new council members in particular, this is a routine matter within a development for the developer to deed over infrastructure to the city for long-term maintenance. This is done in conjunction with our planning department and our public works department. And in this particular case, for those of you familiar with the River North neighborhood, that's over by the 5th Street Bridge, and they have conducted site work and built plats for. All right. Moving on, this also goes into River North Phase 4 under Planning and Development, Resolution number 2025-14, accepting a deed of dedication for the drainage easement for River North Phase 4. Again, that allows us as a city to have access to certain parts of that development for us to be able to deal with stormwater issues. And obviously, that's a very low-lying area there at River North, so that allows our public works to work in that space for their requirements. So again, that's a fairly routine request that you see there under a deed of dedication. Moving on, the next two items are going to be covered in depth in the study session, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about resolutions number 2025-15 and 2025-16. But what I would say is that these are different resolutions because the funding sources are different and the purposes of those apparatus are different. The first one, resolution number 2025-15, is our bridge plan. And so ultimately, these two resolutions together buy 4 fire trucks in both the near and the long term. So I'll pause for that. And then the next item is under boards and commissions, and the mayor will handle that at the next city council meeting. And then, as we always do, I'll be updating Helene and utility billing. Mr. Mayor, not to surprise you on this, but I suspect get a little repetitive, and I think we've got the vast majority of the material off. And I think we're going to start talking about things like insurance claims and FEMA statuses and stormwater and those kinds of things. So most citizens are most concerned about the debris that's on their street, and so I think we'll go back that off to a monthly update, but not next week. But I'll come with you. So I will pause. That is the agenda review for next week. And again, I've got the mayor's guidance and the council's guidance on not putting and we shouldn't accept one without the other. So both item 7 and 8 would move
It's not
to
a
the
motion,
second.
it's just a consensus of the board.
It was.
Department details for this evening, we'll begin with finance. Linda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Couple quick updates from finance. Our delinquent tax notices will be going out by Friday this week. And just to let you know, we sent out 12,688 tax notices, and we are down to 1,121 that are delinquent. So we did a good job on that. And also wanted to announce that all the mid fees have been paid and were paid on time.
All right, very good.
And one other thing that we will be doing, we'll be getting out the delinquent business license notices out May 23rd.
ATAX forms, in the past, we've had a booklet for
Yes, sir.
ATAX forms, and those were never distributed this year.
Correct. We are doing those online or through email now, so I can send that to you if you didn't get those.
I've never gotten one.
Okay, I'll get those out to you.
ATAX forms, in the past, we've had
We do that so we can gather a pool for when they do decide to leave us. So.
For interviews.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next is Engineering Public Works, Tom Caesar.
Good evening and greetings and congratulations to new council members. These updates were all included in Mr. Clifford's last Friday weekly update, but I'll just reiterate them tonight. The detention pond cleanup from Hurricane Helene is ongoing. Contractor is scheduled to be working in what we call the Summit Detention Pond this week. The rain may have delayed some of that activity, and from there he'll be moving to the last pond in Hidden Hills. Sea Fund resurfacing is underway in the city of North Augusta throughout various roads. Again, that contract is roads that the city has requested to be resurfaced, but it is being administered by the SCDOT. They have completed resurfacing of Brookside Drive, a section of East Spring Grove, and Hamburg Road. Drive, Yardley Drive, and Whitlaw's Road. Hold for at least 24 hours. We will have it inspected tomorrow afternoon thoroughly for any evidence of any leak whatsoever. And assuming there are none, the deck will be replacement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Starting next week and continuing until October the 22nd, property maintenance staff will be out on Wednesdays between the hours of 3 and 6 a.m. spraying mosquitoes. this year we've got to continue to put online that, well, by lunchtime tomorrow, we're going to send out public notification on the website and also on Facebook. We'll also have a couple of links on the sites that allow property owners to opt out of the spray or either opt in and request additional spray for heavily infested areas. So, we also changed out the chemical this year. It's more of an organic based. It's environmental friendly. It's not regulated by the EPA, and it's more of an oil based type chemical that gives off, they call it's like an Italian dressing type odor. So, anyway, so don't ask me why, but it's supposed to be user friendly, but it does take care of the mosquitoes and gets rid of them. So.
And we'll probably
Good job, James. Good job, my friend.
have more mosquitoes,
Yeah.
more
Anyway.
mosquitoes this year because of Hurricane Helene. Now, let me, you said it's spraying September to October.
I'm sorry?
What did the mosquito control spraying?
That's going.
They don't start till September or?
No, ma'am. We're going to start next week, and it continues through October.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
So what's September 21st?
That's next week.
September,
The week of the
May
21st.
21st
I think it's a typo. I think it should be.
or typo error. Okay, all right.
September, that's what's doing. There should be some May to
Okay.
21st.
Should have been May, I'm sorry.
All right,
Yes, that's good. It's no cost to the city, and we hope that Aiken Tech will continue that. It's a very good program, and our technicians and our staff, they enjoy going to those, and they get certifications, and we do appreciate all they have to offer us.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Next up is Public Safety, Chief Johnson.
The rest of this week. And also the CAT team will be doing a presentation on Friday at the Aiken Center in reference to a conference that they went to in Nashville the other week. So the Aiken Center, that is the substance abuse program that Margaret Key came and talked about. She's the executive director for that. They're having an all hands on meeting Friday for all their people, and we're going to go participate and be a part of that with them.
Thank you. Next up is Rick Meyer with Parks and Recreation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Leroy Hammond Park is officially back open in service. Our maintenance foreman, Ben Bartley, and maintenance technician, fresh coat of certified playground mulch, and the swings have been repaired, so the park is back in service. Creighton Park Playground installation update. We're looking probably first week of June for completion of that. Ran into a little bit of an issue with the water table there. We had to dig a little bit deeper for the foundation of the playground equipment. Riverview Park Activity Center elevator modernization update. We did such a good job in modernizing the elevator, we discovered that we had to do the same thing with the fire control panel. So that's delayed that for a couple of weeks for us. And last thing I have is spring sports is in the final 2 weeks of play. North Augusta High School is scheduled to be at home tomorrow night against Gilbert, weather permitting.
Do we know who won? Did they?
The scoreboards are not working at several of the baseball fields. Field C, one board.
Since like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that.
Is there a way that maybe we could somehow get something out? Not saying that you haven't, but these
From the ball fields at Riverview Park, like maybe the compressors aren't working in the ball fields at Riverview Park. Like maybe the compressors aren't working in the water fountains. Is that something we're working on? Like maybe the compressors aren't working in the water fountains. Is that something we're working on?
That's it.
And closing us up will be Carl Walhar of Tourism.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to highlight a few events going on this week. That's typical for us in our area. We got a pretty robust Thursday calendar. Got a North Augusta Chamber of Commerce hosting Women of Business luncheon at 11:30 at the Community Center. The keynote will be Stacy Peters of Savannah River Nuclear Solutions. I'll go on from 11:30 to 1. Also Thursday at Community Center, starting at 7 o'clock, North Augusta Cultural Arts Council will be hosting Music in the Park. It'll be inside at the Community Center. And North Augusta High School and Middle School orchestras will be performing for that. Also on Thursday evening from 5 to 8 in downtown North Augusta will be our third Thursday, put on by North Augusta Ford. And moving on to Saturday, the last of the Explore North Augusta concert series is Going South. It's a local artists coming together. It's kind of got a project they play about once every year or two. It's mainly like 60.
Redone too, or?
So the reason you notice that is Roy Kibler was kind enough to cut back some of those azaleas that got overgrown in front of it. And we're working to get that dressed up a little. But we had to get to the meat and potato at the high school, and there North Augusta had a number of winners that are going. We got a pretty big group from this year's FBLA program at the high school that's going. Anaheim to represent us, so I can certainly work with the high school and get us a list of all the young folks that are participating.
I think it would be beneficial for council to see it, to actually see it and have it broadcast here.
Sure.
There were at least two.
Sure.
There were at least two winners or three.
There were multiple. I'm not certain how many. I know in my son's group there was 3 for sure there, and there's a couple other groups. I think one was public speaking. I think participant from that, and there was a couple other categories where the kids are going. But I'll work with the school sponsor and see if I can come up with a list for y'all.
Thank you.
I don't know about that. He's doing a lot better than I am. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Clifford.
So as you have two resolutions, that are in the agenda that have to do with apparatus. I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Chief Junior Johnson to talk through the needs of the department, and either he or I will certainly be able to talk through the financial aspect of this, but I would defer to Chief on all operational aspects associated with the fire apparatus.
All right, thank you for your time this evening. As we talked about, this is our fire apparatus planning. Anything with the fire apparatus takes a lot of time. We have to plan far in advance. So the reason we're here tonight, the purpose is to seek approval for a resolution to purchase a used aerial truck. We'll go over why we need that in just a second and what
Operational aspects associated with the fire apparatus.
All right, thank you for your time this evening. As we talked about, this is our fire apparatus. Some of your busier, larger cities, it's less time than that because they have more runs than we do. And then whenever you order a fire truck, it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years to receive it from the date you signed the contract. Next slide. So as you look, we have this truck featured right here. It's a 1981 American LaFrance 75-foot. So we're still without the use of this vehicle. And one of the things Mr. Clifford's asked me to do over the last year and a half is to see if there is a used truck. We've looked all over the state. This covers the cost of dollars. This covers the cost of the truck and any incidentals that come related to that, i.e., as you see, it has a GVW volunteer plate on the side of it. That'll have to be changed out in North Augusta Public Safety. But all that cost is not to exceed $145,000. So what are you going to do with this truck in 4 years when you get your new trucks? There's a couple of options. One is we can keep it as a reserve ladder truck. That way, if one goes down for maintenance, we have one that could go back in the fleet and be used. The second part, we could sell it, recover those funds to put them back where they came from. That way we can do that. And if you look at the picture here, this is the actual truck being used at Station 3 when we did a demonstration with it. We had them bring it over to make sure it was fully functional. We raised the ladder. We flowed water through it. We test drove it to check it out. And so when you start having problems with them, you extend your downtime of those vehicles. And so you don't have this vehicle in service. And that's where what drives that replacement, so that you have a functioning apparatus ready to go at all times.
What would a brand spanking new one cost?
A brand spanking. We'll get to that in just a second. All right. So that was kind of the first resolution, is that replacement. Now let's take long term. And so that's what we have here. The sales tax 5. We'll go over that in a few minutes. But we're just going to talk about the trucks, the replacement options, and cover it, kind of cap it off. So as we said, this is 1981 American LaFrance. What we want to do is replace it with a 107-foot aerial truck. And what this truck will be a single axle. It'll have a shorter wheelbase so that it can operate in tighter areas. So we're going to house it at Station 1 on Martintown Road. Therefore, it can cover the downtown area, can cover Riverside Village, Hammond's Ferry, go over to Campbelltown Landing, make some of those tight turns getting in there for for the Hammond Hills area, as well as cover the commercial area on the lower end of Knox Avenue, Martintown Road. It'll work for all of that. And then you see the cost for this truck is $1.9 million, and that includes to function it. But the problem is, we take action today, this wouldn't have an effect or help the citizens until 2029. All right, let's look at the next two. That's where the replacement would go. It has a 750-gallon tank. This is our primary truck we use for structure fires. And why does it need to be replaced? So it will be, if we ordered it now, it has a longer lead time, as you see there, 4.5 years. So it wouldn't be till 2030 that it comes in. So this would be a 25-year-old truck at its replacement. And the other part that's important that you see there is where it says the 1989 Pierce Arrow. That's what we're currently using as our reserve truck. So that's a 36-year we're currently using as our reserve truck. So that's a 36-year-old truck. If one of ours goes down for maintenance, that's our primary first out vehicle. So we need down for maintenance. That's our primary first out vehicle. So we need this, so this truck will transition to that reserve truck to take care of those. And the cost for this one is $1.3 million. Once again, that includes all the equipment on it in order to have it fully functioning. Next slide. Station 3. That way it's a quick response to go to the industrial park right there on Highway 1. And it's also close by to cover the hotels on Highway 25 North above I-20. And it's also convenient to take care of the apartment complexes. A little bit different. With the platform, it makes it easier for rescue because instead of trying to get someone, if you have to use it to get someone out of the window, trying to get them to come onto the smaller area, this gives you a much greater area for them to step onto if you're having to do a rescue. And it's also good if you have to go over a parapet wall. And so this kind of sums it all up. This shows you our old trucks, shows you the potential replacements that you see there. And then if we take action tonight, it shows you when those would be in service. Next slide. So the funding timeline. Back in November, the voters approved $5.97 million for the replacement of 2 ladder trucks, 1 engine, and 1 support truck. But the CPST 5 will not begin collecting until 2026. So we cannot expend any funds on these prior to 2026. The second part of that is that some of the smaller towns will get their money first in the CPST 5. So North Augusta itself will not receive disbursements till around 2027. But Mr. Clifford's reached out and spoke to the county attorney, and they said you can go ahead and enter into contracts for these things. You just cannot pay out any outlay of money until after the disbursements start coming in. So what we want to do is go ahead and approve these apparatus, go ahead and get them in the build process so they can come in, and then the actual payments will take place after the CP. What kind of difference it makes. The top left slide, but we may not have that much coming in, or that might take from all the other projects. So you could do a partial payment to pay down, like if you wanted to do pay off just 107-foot aerial in 2027, make another payment in 2028, and then finish paying for them in 2029 and 2030. That way you can spread out the payments over the years in order to keep other projects going. That is not what we're asking you to decide on today. What we want to do is that you commit the resolution to commit so that we can sign a contract to order the trucks. And then in 2027, once money starts coming in, then the decision time will be here. Are we paying now? Or are we paying in 28, 29, or when the trucks arrive?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Would all 3 of these vehicles have approximately the same amount of lifespan?
Yes, sir.
Would it make sense to vary the purchase of them so that we don't get hit every 25 years with a $5 to $10 million expense?
Yes, sir. And I considered that. The response that I have for that is it's only going to get more expensive. as we go along. So if we can start now, we can get them while they're cheaper. Because these prices are only good through July. After July, they evaluate every quarter and raise their prices as they go along.
Councilman, also to highlight your question, this isn't 100% life cycle of the existing equipment. We still have additional pumpers that we're not asking, another set of fire equipment that would outfit Station 4. And then when you get into CPST 6, now you're going to be looking at the pumpers that we're not.
Under Chief Johnson's leadership and really with Jim Clifford, our administration, is for us to actually have to be dealing with for council, for citizens ought to be very pleased that we just don't have our heads in the sand. We are planning in the future and being prepared for infrastructure such as fire and safety. So,
Chief, quick question.
Yes, sir.
So the bridge,
Why are they getting rid of that truck?
Because they purchased a new one. It's a good truck. We have a lieutenant that used to work with us here. He's now a volunteer with us. He was the primary driver of that truck, so we know it was well taken care of. And that's the thing. We don't want to purchase someone else's problem. We feel comfortable that this is a local department. That we've seen this truck in use and we know what it is. It doesn't have, we're not buying a truck that something went wrong and
Council and fire leadership, and we'll find out from various municipalities about their availability of vehicles that they're putting on the market. And invariably, the firefighters will tell each other the truth. And so I'll lead to chief and go, hey, you should talk to Department X, and then they'll call the fire chief or the fire folks down there, and they'll go, yeah, that's a hangar queen. This thing is no good. I wouldn't buy that truck. And so we've actually turned away or not examined fully other apparatus opportunities because we got good feedback or negative feedback about the particular incidents that they had. But because this is a local volunteer department and we do have connectivity to that department, then we've got good visibility on that truck. And you're right, it's not ideally I would just say, hey, we go buy new trucks and call it good. But the problem that, that I asked Chief to look at is the fact that fire truck we have, the 1981 ladder truck, is good on paper and meets certain ISO requirements for us. But in reality, that is not a viable option for the city. And so certainly since I came on board, when I first was shown that apparatus fund for the bridge plan of the vehicle, and then what I would tell you is after we sell whatever vehicle that it is, whether it's that one or the 81 ladder truck, that my intention would be to put those funds into the capital projects fund to kind of refund some of those dollars.
Yeah, only thing I'll say is I hate the thought of spending $145,000 on a placeholder, but we're in that position because we haven't kept up with the
piece of equipment and we don't have it and they file bankruptcy. It may be sitting on that lot with our name on it. We may never see it. So, I mean, it's a real risk to try to get that advantage, I think. And like I said, we got plenty of time to figure that out, but in today's times, I would be concerned.
Kelly, I hate to dispute you on that, but I would say that one of the great beneficiaries of ARPA funding are fire truck companies, because most cities and counties took their ARPA funds and bought apparatus, which is one of the reasons why we've got a 4 to 5 year backlog on some of these trucks, because it's everybody's at the market right now. But I do take your point. And the nice thing is for Chief and his crew with the relationship that we have with kind of the apparatus industry is that we were able to track the progress of the trucks that we recently bought, all the way through to see what the status of that truck was when they had the actual, chassis, when they had the equipment, and get to see it built. So I think by the time, to allay your concerns is by the time we're only a year out from the delivery of the truck, we're going to be able to see it. That doesn't allay the fact that the company could go bankrupt, but at least we'll be able to see that there's a real product that's on the assembly line and coming along. And just as a reminder to the council, and again, Kelly, that is a risk, but it's a risk you took as a council previously with the 2 apparatus you all bought with ARPA.
Very good, Chief. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So they say to the large apparatus or equipment, but there are exceptions to that. So the exceptions are carved out are for cooperative purchasing agreements. So for example, if something's on state contract, we have the ability by ordinance to go directly to the state contract and buy that apparatus there. And we're also, because we're members of the Municipal Association of South Carolina, able to buy things off of HGAC buy, which is the Houston Galveston Area Council. It's a cooperative purchasing agreement that MASC has entered into on behalf of the municipalities of South Carolina. And the last 2 fire apparatus that we've purchased were done through the HGAC buy program. So we did not do the 3 bid to get the fire trucks. We went through the cooperative purchasing agreement through HGAC. All right, are we going to talk about billing next? Awesome. Next slide. Most of these slides are going to be the same. I would tell you that most of the stuff I see on social media isn't necessarily positive, but I did see a great post the other day about the fact that somebody said, hey, I've got a problem with my utility billing, and 2 people hopped right online and said, did you call the centralized number? Because I got great people called me right back, and they were able to fix my problem, and so I think that's a good stat for us, and Linda and her team are doing a good job of getting back to the constituents that have issues. So even though, again, we talk about a 3-day business day response, we're pretty much at that point now where we're hitting either same day or next day responses on the line. Next slide. This is an older slide, but again, we started this project earlier than this, but the utility billing portion started in January, and those are some of the key dates. And as we came out with the very first 2 billing cycles, the cycle 1 and cycle 2 at the end of February and into March came out incorrect, and that's when we put a halt on all of our movements on utility billing until we can get a handle on it. Next slide. Again, these are our responses, no change from last time, but I did want to highlight that we haven't shut anybody off since December of 2024, and we have not charged a late fee for any account since February 6th of this year. Next slide. So again, we're still delayed. I'm going to show you a calendar slide about where we are. Next slide. So this is what I briefed last week, and unfortunately it goes December of 2024, and we have not charged a late fee in 3 days. You've got this, the set amount of time you have to pay your bill. So if we get the bills out late, then you have the same amount of time to make your payment with the city. And so this whole calendar here starts sliding around based on this week's delay. So I'll have a better calendar for you next week on statuses of those. But again, my guidance to the staff and to GovSense has been the same. Next slide. So bottom line, again, we've had a number of challenges with our new billing system. Some of those have had errors. Some of those are going to continue to be delayed. We've got a customer service line there, which is listed here on the slide. It's also on the city's webpage. And again, we're having good feedback off that line that people are able to get a live person on the phone. It's not an automated phone tree. It's either going to go to voicemail or it's going to get picked up. And if it goes to voicemail, they'll have a live human being that will call them back and get there. And I'd also like to thank the rest of the staff because we've stripped out a number of administrative personnel from other departments to help with finance, to help do intake through the lobby, and that has been enormously helpful as we've been going through this. Next slide. I'll pause for questions from council. All right, let's roll right into Hurricane Helene. So I did want to say that the removal of the debris from the soccer complex is 100% complete. However, Public Services is still going to have to take some additional time because of the weather for us to regrade that site and put some gravel down for parking for the soccer complex. But I'm not as concerned about that as other things. And currently we have a large grinder operating at the country club property. So up on Gregory Lake Road and the large property up there, it's an enormous amount of debris that's up there. We've got 2 separate positions from the perspective of contractors are not doing work out in the city. We have city crews that are out there doing pickup of various debris and some yard debris. But ultimately, the contractors now have moved into the grinding and backhaul operation, and we've got to get them moving through. And our goal is to have them out of here by 1 July. What I got, and I'll cover this on the next slide, is that we've got continuing operations going on. Tom Zezer is going to get us a little bit of buffer, but not much, to get the rest of the debris out of the city limits. Again, I've only going to have to show the slide maybe 2 or 3 more times. So again, I've got one vehicle that has a boom arm that's able to pick up yard debris. In order, because we have only 1 truck covering the entire city right now, bagging it's the best way for us to effectively and efficiently move through the city. So that's how we're doing it until June 2nd. Next slide. And that's when we're going to start doing it again. So we'll get back to standard yard debris. And again, bags are not going to be required at that point in time, but they're certainly encouraged as they move forward. Next slide. So again, this was the operation end state we're trying to shoot for. We're getting closer to green on a number of these. I would tell you that I'm pretty close to getting green on recreational facilities and city parks being open. Rick talked about tonight the fact that we got one more park that was closed is now back open. I think once we get modern field structure down, I'll feel a lot better about greening that up. And then again, we still have a number of outstanding repairs are going to have to be going on throughout the city through insurance and through FEMA reimbursement. And we are the #1 city in the state of South Carolina for insurance based on municipalities, and that includes shore communities based on hurricanes down there. And I think also the city of Sumter when they had their flood several years ago. So, I mean, it's not exactly a badge of honor, but it does give you a sense of the scope of the devastation that the city had to deal with.
The man, so we just don't know right now. So they sort of got a double hit this season.
Mr. Mayor and Council, that's the conclusion of the study session from a staff perspective. I turn the meeting back to you.
Okay. Just want to thank our directors for your patience, for being here while we had our public input. I just want to commend this council, each of you, especially our 3 new council members. It was very evident you had done your homework. You were prepared. You had good questions. And I think it's all very positive. So thank y'all for your service and have a great day. And we stand.